If a monopoly has zero marginal costs and wishes to maximize profit, we want to pick one of these 5 statements. Well, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a zero marginal cost is some demand, some marginal revenue, and some marginal cost of zero. So my marginal cost of zero is here, if you like. And I remember my optimal monopoly problem that I would price where my quantity would be where marginal revenue intersects with marginal cost, and my price will be up here. I also should remember that if this is my choke price, my marginal cost is 0, my optimal price would be the choke price divided by 2. Let's take those statements one at a time. It will produce less than it would at a positive marginal cost. Well, let's think about it. If your marginal cost is positive, where would you produce? You would be producing here. So this monopolist will be producing more. So question A, part A, is wrong. It will produce in the elastic range of the demand curve. Okay, here's one thing that you should try and remember. You can derive this, you can convince yourself, but take any linear demand curve, any one, doesn't matter what the slope is. If you cut the price, you take the choke price here and you cut it into half, so you have C over 2. This point here would be unit elastic. This bit here would be elastic. And this bit here would be inelastic. So it will produce in the elastic range of the demand curve. This is true for most monopolists with the exception of this one here. Okay? Because this monopolist here will produce at exactly choke price divided by 2, where this is equal to 1. So this is the right answer. This B would have been right on most occasions, with this one exception. Okay? It will produce in the inelastic range. This is rubbish because a monopolist would never do that. It would produce the same amount as the competitive industry. That's also rubbish because what would be the amount in the competitive industry? It would be this one here. So the only right answer is C. Let's go to part 6. A pure monopolist must decrease price on all units in order to sell additional units. This explains why there are barriers to entry in a pure monopoly. Rubbish. Barriers to entry had nothing to do with how your demand looks like. Okay? There could be all sorts of reasons for barriers to entry, but the fact that the demand curve is downward sloping is not one of them. A monopoly has a perfectly elastic demand curve. We've never spoken about a perfectly elastic demand curve. Actually, if you look at this demand curve up here, it's not perfectly elastic, right? Doesn't have to be. So this is also rubbish. Marginal revenue is less than average revenue. Okay, maybe you didn't quite understand this, so let's put this in a question mark. Total revenue are smaller than total cost, except at profit maximizing level of output. This is also another rubbish, right? This is pretty much saying that you're making a loss at every other point that you're selling, but this one, okay? It really doesn't make sense. So really the only thing by process of elimination is this one, but let's really convince ourselves. What is marginal revenue? Well, marginal revenue is this steeper line right here. That's marginal revenue. What is average revenue? It's the price. So the average revenue would be your demand function. This is going to be your average revenue. And what we notice is that your average revenue is always higher than your marginal revenue. So now we've convinced ourselves that not only by process of elimination, but also by just thinking about it, that C is the correct one. If I was sitting on this exam, I would actually go through this process of elimination. I would really try and convince myself that not only my answer is the right one, but all the other ones are wrong. Okay? Let's do the final one for this batch. The demand curve will shift to the left. Shifting to the left means demand will decrease. If your income decreases, your demand will also decrease, correct? If the price of a substitute fall, meaning north side pizza becomes less expensive, then south side pizza's demand will decrease because the substitute good that you could substitute for has become cheaper. So this will work. The moment that this works and this works, the price of the complement increases. This is the opposite, right, for complements, right? So the demand will also decrease. So all of the above, none of the above doesn't make sense. And that is your answer for that particular one.